I hope you're living your life to the fullest, living savage, and shit.
And staying savage.
I hope you're living your life. Right, that's my tagline. That's actually it.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, beautiful savages? It's your boy Kenny Savage, and I'm here with Ivan Mendoza. What's up, Ivan Mendoza? Thank you for being in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Why are you here? Why am I interviewing you?
So, my name is Ivan Mendoza, and I'm a freelance professional photographer, here in the Central Valley, and, here to talk about some photography.
Cool, man, cool. So, when did you get started in photography?
I got started in 2008,
okay.
Just taking a drive and decided that I needed to do something. Pulled out a cell phone, took a picture. Next thing you know, I upgraded and got myself a little mirrorless camera. Was entry-level camera, but still. It was a Nikon 1J1. They discontinued the camera, but that's kind of what I started off with.
So you just started taking pictures with your cell phone?
Yeah, I started with my cell phone. I took a picture of a dead tree, and I posted it to Instagram. I got one like, and I was like, ooh, this is cool,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take another picture, and so that's kind of what got me started in the whole photography business, but I didn't know anything about it.
What was your background before that one picture where it was like?
Honestly, I was just more of a hiker, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, I know a lot of places, so hiking wasn't something that took me into photography. I think it was just like looking for something that I could do that was constructive with my life,
Okay.
It's like, man, I don't do anything, I just work and then I go hiking. Even then, you go hiking, but you don't have anything to document your hikes.
Right.
So that's kind of what led to the whole purchase of the camera. Kind of gives you a sense of like closeness to nature.
And then you always have that photograph that will remind you that you were there instead of just being another passer through that forest or mountain range or whatever, but now you have it like documented that you were there, and then you can share that with others.
Right, because you could tell people, hey, I've been to this place. Well, you can tell them or you can show them. So when I took the picture, it was like, boom, I was there. You can believe it now because you see the proof, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't some picture that I took off of Google, but it was one that I took myself.
When you first got into it, like, was there like a philosophy or something that you reached out to people? Like, you started out with your cell phone, and then like what led to the first purchase of your camera? You said it was a mirrorless, it was an entry level, but how did you get to that point to decide that, like, okay, I need to go up from the next level from a cell phone to, like, did you research it or did you reach out to other people and get their opinion on what you should start out with?
Honestly, I didn't know anybody who was into photography at the time. I was just like, I want a camera that has those capabilities to get, those nice scenes. So it wasn't, I didn't know anybody, I didn't do any research. I didn't even know the difference between a Canon and a Nikon or a Pentax was.
Right.
I was just like, I'm gonna buy me a camera.
A camera is a camera, yeah.
I did, I bought a camera. Before you know it, it just kind of took off from there, but I didn't know anything about it. No, I didn't know I didn't know anyone. You know what I mean? So it was just.
So
like,
did you just go into Best Buy and like ask the guy, like, show me a camera like that?
I walked into Target. And I didn't anticipate to spend more than $300, but I ended up spending $1,000 on, this mirrorless system with an extra lens.
At Target?
At Target.
They sell a camera that much?
Yes.
Wow.
I spent $1,000 buying this. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Nikons, they make great cameras and stuff like that. But this mirrorless system was flawed. It was like just not the greatest camera. Now that I look at it from this point of view, you know what I mean? But it was definitely a lot of money at Target that I spent that day.
Was that an impulse buy or?
It was an impulse buy. I was like, dude, I need to take pictures. I'm going to all these cool places, and I tell people, but they're like, yeah, cool story, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and I get a lot of that, like, oh, I'm a photographer, and they're like, sure you are. Okay.
Yeah. So did you think by getting a more expensive camera that was going to make you a photographer?
Yeah, I did. Everybody assumes that photography is just about like hitting one button. And so that's kind of what started out with me. I didn't know anything about photography.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get a fancy camera. Fancy cameras do everything for you.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what led to the purchase. I asked the guy that was working there at Target what he thought. He's like, oh yeah, man, it's a great system. So I bought it.
So your thinking at the time was like the camera makes the
picture,
photo.
yeah.
Like not so much like you had to learn stuff.
Right. I didn't
you
think it was
out.
involved. I didn't think it was as interactive, or that you needed to have all this knowledge of photography and the rule of thirds and things like that, understanding ISO and aperture and the shutter. I just thought it was all just, you know, done automatically anyway. I didn't understand photography. When you're shooting with a cell phone, you don't have control of that.
Right.
You just press one button and it does everything for you.
Yeah.
You know, auto settings, that's kind of what I did. When I started to learn the manual mode, I actually started to learn it on the Nikon 1J1, and you had to go into the menu and go deep into the menu to look for these settings. It wasn't, you know, already set up for you on the buttons. You had to like work hard to get a good shot.
Right.
So I just gave up on the idea and I just went back to auto settings. And I started to learn more in depth about photography and the settings when I jumped into the DSLR.
Okay.
You know, that's when everything changed for me. And my first camera was a Nikon D3200, which was a crop sensor camera. And that's where I learned, you know, a little bit more like, oh, you actually do have to work hard. You do have to learn the shutter speeds, and you do have to learn the ISOs and stuff like that. So that's where I learned that you have to work hard for a picture.
Yeah.
You know?
So you say you had to learn to work hard to take the picture, but who taught you?
I reached out to people, and I reached out to some Central Valley photographers, and I got met with a lot of resistance. Nobody wanted to help me out. I was kind of mocked for a little bit because of the camera choice that I had. Yeah. And so it was like, oh, you got a D3200, you know, good for you, you know, congratulations on your $500 camera.
Yeah.
And it was almost like people had this like secret to photography, and oh, I'm not going to tell him, he's going to take pictures just like me. But that's not necessarily the case. I just wanted to know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. So I went on Google and I started doing research.
Okay.
And I hit YouTube and started doing research. So that's how I learned how to take pictures. Okay. So it was all that, and then trial and error. I just went out and I started doing things. I was just playing with settings until I finally figured out, oh, this is what this does. This is what that does. Yeah. So that's how I learned photography.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring in these people that have these little secrets that they're willing to give you, so you don't have to take the long route. So you don't have to learn by trial and error. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there, like you said, that meet you with resistance, and they don't want to give you something when it's all already out there. You know, YouTube, like classes, this and that, all the information is out there. What I'm trying to do is find the people that will actually come in here, like Ivan's been cool enough to do. And if you like it, we'll bring them back more. But what we're trying to do is just to get you guys started on what you have. I loved what you said about your philosophy about camera. You want to tell them what you had told me when I asked you?
Yeah. You know, the philosophy that I liked was the best camera is the camera that's in your hands.
And I like that, guys. He's working with what he has,
yep.
And then reaching out to people, networking, which I'm trying to build here, trying to build a brand in 2019. And I'm reaching out to other people such as Ivan, who also does studio photography. He does landscape photography. He does macro photography. He does long frame stills. And if you don't know what that is, because I had to ask him, I mean, like, you know, that's when you take a picture of like a moving object, like a waterfall or something.
Exposure, waterfalls, bodies of water, moving clouds, cars that are moving. You know, if they're driving by, you're panning them. You slow the shutter down, and you get a blur. So you get the car in motion, and it's in focus, but everything is blurred. So it gives you a sense of movement. That's what the long exposure is for.
So here we are in 2008. You started 2008. When did you get to the D3200?
I got to the D3200 after I got my first feature on Instagram. That's what like really got me excited. I was like, okay, I can do something with photography because I finally got some recognition over a macro shot that I took with a J1. It was a bunch of ladybugs put together. They were all in a little bunch on just a blade of grass.
Okay.
And that shot was like, you know, it got its first feature. I got a whole bunch of followers. I was like, cool, I can do something with this. So that's what, like, that, and then met with resistance from the people. You know, they didn't want to teach me, and that pissed me off. I was like, nope, I'm going to work even harder now.
Right. And
I'm going to be better than whoever, you know, is against me. And I'm going to teach other people how to do this. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to give them all the tools. I'm going to be like, here, you're going to learn everything, and you don't have to feel stupid for asking me a question. I'm going to help you out,
right.
You know, because I didn't receive that help.
Right.
So I'm going to be better, and I'm going to help other people because I was looking for that help.
You were that guy.
I was that guy.
On the other end of people asking you stupid questions.
Yep.
So that was around, what, 2000?
About 2010, 2011 is when I upgraded.
Okay.
And then shortly after, my camera had broken. So I was without my D3200, and at the time by then I had quite a few friends that were very supportive of my photography. Cool. And they actually got together and, you know, pitched in a little bit of cash and bought me another D3200. So I couldn't, because I couldn't afford it at the time.
Right.
And they're like, no, dude, you're doing so good. You know, here, let's help you out. Cool. They bought me another camera, and that's kind of what kept me going. About 2016 is when I finally went from the D3200 to the D610, which is what changed the entire game for me.
Okay.
Because then that's when I jumped into astrophotography, and that was like a whole different ball game. I had to learn photography all over again. I had to learn the camera functions all over again. And shooting, you know, and any photographer I'm sure understands this, but shooting at high ISO was just, it's really hard when you're shooting with a camera that doesn't have good ISO value, and then going into a camera that does. You're almost hesitant to change those settings. You're like, no, 3200, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. Like ISO 3200, there's going to be so noisy. But with the 610, it was clean. My images were sharp. They were still nice. And so that's what changed everything.
But that was a pricier, that was a pricier jump from your $500 D3200.
Yes, jumping from, you know, that to the 610, you know, you're looking at a 500 body versus like paying $2,000 with lens. You know, there's a big difference there. But the fact that you're able to push your settings further is what changes that for you, you know, and having a bigger frame to work with. So going from a crop sensor to limited frame to, you know, using the same lens on the crop sensor to using that same lens on a full frame camera, and you get more of the scene.
Right.
Dude, it's
game changer.
Oh yeah, it changed everything for me.
But
you know?
but having the basic fundamental foundations, having worked with the D3200, and then not only once but twice when your buddies chipped in and said, hey, we want to support you, we want you to keep continuing going on, which is what Savage Council is all about. We want to support you. So that like gave you a strong foundation to even pick up a more expensive camera and kind of run with it. Now, were you being commissioned, or were you calling yourself a freelance photographer at this time, or what was your status in the camera community, the photography community?
At that time, I didn't know how to address myself. Okay. You know, because in photography there's this argument: what makes you a professional?
Right.
You know, it's like, are you a professional because you take good pictures? Or are you a professional because you're actually making money off of this?
Right, okay.
So I actually started to generate money by selling my long exposure shots and some of the landscape shots.
Oh, okay.
So I started making money with the D3200, but it didn't pick up until, you know, again, when I got that 610. I don't know, it was different jumping into that, you know.
Yeah.
Money is kind of what dictates that whole, you know, professionalism. But a freelance photographer, I started calling myself that, I would say maybe after a year of having the 610.
Okay.
Because I was unsure where I stood, you know. I was like, I don't know, what do I call myself, you know?
Right.
There are people that think that you have to go to school to become a professional, or, you know, can you be self-taught? Well, I'm self-taught.
Right.
I didn't go to school, I didn't take a class, I didn't do any of that.
Right.
Everything I learned on my own. So that's why I say freelance professional, because you basically learned everything on your own, but you're also making money on the side now. So
was that when you first started generating money with with your long exposure shots? Was that, what kind of money are we talking about?
It was like kind of like you know, you got to get a feel for it, because you don't know what level you're on. You charge what you think is appropriate, but maybe you're lowballing yourself. I did that a lot.
So is that yeah. So that's
yeah, it was just to get my name out there.
Right.
When you live in an area where the potential to earn money is not as high, it makes it very difficult for you to make a sale, because you mark up your images. So you take a shot and it's going to cost you $50 to print. Well, you want to mark it up. You know, you want to make a profit. You don't want to just, you know, sell the image and not make anything off of it. You know what I mean? You got to take into account the fact that you spent hours processing. You're processing software, you know, you're driving to these areas, the hours that it takes to get there, things like that. And so you mark it up, and so you sell the shot for $100. So you just made $50. It doesn't sound like much, but when you start to sell a whole bunch of images, those $50 start to stack up. You know, before you know it, you're a couple grand in profit, but you've also, you know, at the same time, you know, gained a lot of skill. And that's kind of what makes it to where you're able to charge even more. And then you start figuring out that you can print like on metal and acrylic and a canvas and things like that, and what types of pictures are appropriate for that type of medium. So I don't print like my Astro shots on canvas. I print them on metal, just because of the radiance of the metal itself. So, or metallic paper. If I'm going to print on paper, I use metallic paper because it is radiant. It's much nicer. So just learning the formats and what you want to print in and what medium you want to print in. And so that's what dictates how much you're going to charge.
Yeah, also it sounds like you're also trying to feel out test the waters of the market, your demographics. You're trying to not only get your name out there, but you're also trying to provide something that's affordable. Just, you know, and then you're also trying to present your artwork, your photography in the best medium possible, and that all comes with trial and error, and then just kind of testing out the waters to see what people are willing to pay and stuff. So when did the magazine approach you?
The magazine approached me, I would say 3 years ago, when I got my first magazine publication. And it was a shot that I took in Yoko Valley. So I went out, took a drive. It was during the springtime. I was looking down towards Exeter, so I was at the top of the hill, and took a shot with some looping down at the bottom corner, and you got this, you know, nice landscape, you know, down beneath you. And it was all nice and green and pretty, partly cloudy sky, and it was just like that one shot that was like, hey, you know what? Let's put this in the Sequoia Travel Guide. So that was my first feature on a magazine, was the Sequoia Travel Guide. Like
a real legit magazine publication. They approached you.
They approached me, and I think they found me through somebody else. I don't know how it happened, but all I heard was, I have a friend who follows you on Facebook who says your work is good and, you know, captures the valley, you know, the way, you know, it looks, but it's also beautiful. You make it look, you know, inviting. So I want to see your pictures, so if you can email them to me, and then, you know, we'll go from there. So I emailed them like 5 or 6 shots. Next thing you know, I get 4 images published in the magazine. So it was cool. It was, you know, the Sequoia Travel Guide. I'd never had it done before. And, you know, I got paid for it, and it was cool. And then I think about a year later, I got featured in the Locations California magazine. And then Locations International. And those 2 shots featured the same, or the 2 magazines featured the same shots. So it was the giant sequoia with the Milky Way. That one was a really hard shot to take. My friend Steve was out there with me. We were both, you know, firing shots. It was really cool. You know, he's, you know, painting the top of the tree. I'm painting the bottom of the tree, you know, to make sure that we lit it up just right. And so it took a lot of shooting to get it down. And we honestly went up to shoot thunderstorms. We didn't go to shoot the Milky Way, but the thunderstorm was already gone in the distance by the time we got up to the mountains. So once it cleared up, you see the Milky Way, and then we just decided to shoot. So we got up there about 10 o'clock, no, maybe a little earlier. We didn't leave Balch until about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like a long, drawn-out process, but that shot was what made it to the Locations California and Locations International magazine, and then it also made it on the Sequoia Travel Guide for last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's done its rounds.
So it's kind of like a mainstay, like you said. The publishers thinks that it's a good representation of Central Valley, the essence of it.
Right.
And with these national monuments so close to us, because we are by the King's Forest, or is it King's Canyon, and then Sequoia National.
Mm-hmm.
So these are kind of like the travel guide would want to show this off and show it off in a good way to where it would be inviting for people to want to come.
Right.
Now, do you do any other work? Like you said, international, Travel Guide International. Has that taken you to places?
It's been more like the magazine gets sold worldwide.
Nice.
And so people from around the world are able to see that, you know, California has, you know, areas that can draw you in. Like, hey, you know, California is not all about, you know, just surfing and blonde-haired, blue-eyed people.
Right. The city
there's in San Francisco and LA and San Diego, and that's you know, the areas that you should go to. But you have these huge forests out here.
Right.
You know, you have the giant sequoias, which only grow in certain, you know, parts of California. And so it's a way to draw people out. And it's like, look at our dark skies. Yeah, we have some massive cities here, but look at our night skies. You know, you get the Milky Way still, you know, with the giant sequoia, you know, and you have the oldest tree, you know, and you have this huge ancient sky. It's perfect.
And that's awesome. And so your pictures are being published internationally, worldwide. What is that like? Once somebody looks and sees who takes the picture, like what has your fanfare been like since then? And describe to us, like, what platforms are you on that when people are being exposed to you, like where could they go to?
People, you know, they've been pretty much really nice to me as far as like, you know, my photography goes. They've been very supportive. They'll share images or they'll comment, you know, they'll leave a like or whatever. And mainly the biggest response has been on Facebook, you know, because that's kind of where I started everything out. That and Instagram. And you can find me on Instagram and you can find me on Facebook. Instagram is IvansTravels_CA_FS. So follow me. All of my shots on there are astrophotography or just night shots in general. People have been really nice, and then just knowing that the shots are out there is, you know, good enough for me. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to, like, you know, say that I'm anywhere near where I could be, because there's always room for improvement, you know?
Absolutely.
And there's always room for me to do more. And so it's just a way to make you feel good about what you're doing. You know, you're like, all right, cool. Like, I actually got, you know, a magazine feature. Now I'm going to go out. I'm going to try even harder.
Right.
So it's a way to push you to go hard. It's a way to push you to go further. And it's been amazing. I do have a lot of social media, but I tend to use Instagram and Facebook the most. The people, again, they've been really good. I have, like, probably some of the best followers, you know, very supportive people. And with Facebook and the algorithms, you know, where you don't get as much exposure means that you may have 1,000, 5,000 friends, but you only get like maybe 20 or 30 people that like an image. Not every image is, you know, meant for everybody. You know what I mean? Exactly. Whatever calls out to you, that's what you should enjoy.
That's
you know
it,
what I mean?
man.
Yeah, the people have been nice. You do run into people that think that the images are photoshopped, that they're not real. Honestly, I'm not that good with Photoshop. Just so we clarify, I am not that good with Photoshop. Everything that I take is real. It's on, you know, it's on the spot. Yeah, there is editing that gets done just to basically bring the colors back, but you know, nothing is fake, you know. And I was going out with my friend Johnny Lopez, which has been like, he's been a huge help. He's more of a portrait photographer, but still goes out, does landscapes and things like that. And then my friend Steve, Wygent, you can correct me later. And he goes by the name Tobias. He's the guy that I spent like an entire year just going out and shooting night. You know, we go out and we bounce ideas off of each other. You know, I learned a lot by shooting with these guys. You know, these two dudes have been probably like the biggest help when it comes to what I've done recently. Johnny's always like, here, check out this video. Watch it. Maybe you'll learn something. I know you're good at what you do, but watch it. You'll learn something. You'll enjoy it. So he's definitely got his things that he enjoys. Steve, he was just the night photography guy, you know.
Right.
It was like, cool. He shot with an 810, which is what I have now.
Okay.
And then Johnny, he shoots with a D5, so he's got the flagship, you know, the Nikon flagship camera. But honestly, those were probably my two biggest influences, you know, as far as
cool.
like, keep going. Very good guys, you know, very good guys. So.
Shout out to Johnny and Steve.
Yep.
So
up,
this was like about 3 years ago. At that point, when you got published, did you then did you go by professional freelance photographer?
Yeah.
Or like how do you?
Yeah. Then I changed it because
I
I got that credibility.
Right.
Then I have something that says, all right, you know, I've been published,
Right.
but I don't, you know, try to toot my own horn
Right.
by any means, because I know a lot of photographers that do some amazing work, you know, and they're very humble about their stuff too.
Sure.
So I try to remain that way. My whole point is to capture something that brings focus to us. Everybody thinks of California as, you know, again, beaches and surfing, but there's so much more out there. So it's just, you know, trying to make the best of whatever I'm doing.
With the resources that you have, and just pushing the bar, trying to get better shots. And cool, man.
Yeah.
I could respect that. But now, actually, you do kind of, you are kind of like a big deal, because they're going to award you a state award for one of your pictures?
Yeah, they're gonna display one of my pictures in the state capitol.
Okay.
So, you know, I took a picture up at Mineral King.
Okay.
I honestly thought it was a random shot. I didn't think it was that good. I was just like, I took a random shot. But it was like, I waited for the clouds to break open. It was foggy, and the clouds lifted just enough, broke open, and I was like, boom, took a shot. Down the valley, you got these big mountains. It's like the Swiss Alps of California.
Okay.
And, you know, one of the guys that contacted me for the Sequoia Travel Guide magazine, he also told me that they were looking for a picture to represent Mineral King in the state capitol. They have one, but they wanted to update it.
Yeah, kind of.
So he thought of me, and he's like, hey, I know you have pictures of that place.
Yeah.
So he hit me up, and I was like, yeah, you know, let's do it. So I sent them the image of Mineral King. So it's going to be a part of the history timeline for Mineral King for that area.
For the 21st century.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's really
that's kind of
cool.
like a big deal for somebody who works full time, because I know you're working 40 hours a week, and then just Monday through Friday. Then you've just had the weekends and your time after work, because all in all, like, even side hustle or not, even if you're selling pictures, selling shirts, selling apparel, whatever it is that you're selling, like, the lights still need to be kept on, like, you still have responsibilities. He's going to work Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, and he's trying to learn all this stuff on his free time, and then on his weekends he's going out on his journeys and actually trying to get hands-on practical, which has put you in a pretty good place, because now you can say that you're published. Now your picture is on a timeline for the 21st century. I mean, that's monumental. That's you know, that's pretty much that's a big deal. And then moving forward, you're still now you're able, with that credibility, like, you're teaching astrophotography. Tell us how you got into that.
So I don't see much astrophotography in the Central Valley. I know a few photographers that do. The majority of the astrophotography has been coming from myself. You know, there's a lot of local Central Valley photographers that have been wanting to learn it. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'll be happy to teach a class. And they're like, yeah, you know, I mean, obviously you shoot a lot of astro, so you probably know some stuff. You know, maybe help us out, learn how to set up your camera so that you can do these astro shots. And then knowing exactly what settings you're able to use that are camera specific, that aren't gonna blow your highlights out, or make your camera or your picture so noisy that you don't know whether you're looking at stars or you're looking at noise.
Right.
So yeah, there was about maybe 7 to 9 people there. I can't really think off the top of my head.
Sure.
But they were there, and they all had different cameras, and it was cool. You know, they wanted to learn the basics, so I taught them the basics, and it was something that I had to learn myself, and I learned through trial and error. I learned with a D3200 how to shoot the Milky Way. The pictures were grainy. They were really bad. So I stopped, But with a 610, I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing, what I was doing wrong. And so that's what helped me learn astrophotography, and that's what helped me teach people. You know, after shooting for 2 years, you kind of gain a little bit of knowledge. But even then, I'm still learning about astrophotography. It's not an easy thing to do. So any astrophotographer out there that's going to watch this video or that is watching, you know, mad respect. You know, it's hard. It's really hard to do. But teaching it to them, it was fun. It was a good experience, and I'd probably be doing a few more classes.
Cool.
You know, to get people out there and to bring some light to the Central Valley. Like I said, there's a lot that could be done here.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just trying to show people that you don't have to go very far to get the Milky Way. You can see it 15 minutes from where we live. But teaching the class has been cool. People came out, which is a big deal. I didn't think anybody would show up, but they did. So I'm appreciative of that. And hopefully next, you know, this coming up year, that people will show up again. And this time we go a little bit more advanced and actually light paint a subject, the foreground. And then go into more advanced editing. So part of taking a picture, taking a picture is one half, but the editing is the other half.
Okay.
You can take a great image, but you can edit it to look like trash.
Yeah.
Or you can edit it and make it look amazing. You can bring things out of it that weren't there or that weren't present to the naked eye. It's fun. Hopefully I can teach more classes in the future, you know, get some more people educated.
Yeah, and people that are watching, if they are coming over because they are interested in astrophotography, which I gotta be perfectly honest with you, I'm gonna be savagely raw with you. I had no idea what astrophotography was. Putting the Latin words together, astro must mean space, photography is picture, so you're taking pictures of space.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, for a simpleton like me. But like, yeah, so if you're watching, like, hit up Ivan, like maybe, you know, the Milky Way season, as he refers to it. I didn't even know there was a Milky Way season, but that's how much I'm learning by just surrounding myself and opening myself up and networking with other people, talking with them and seeing what they're interested about. That's why, you know, that's how I'm able to bring it to you. And that's my goal, is to expose people who are doing cool things in the valley. Not only that, I'm going to be reaching out to people via social media, Instagram. I'm going to try to get some Skype going up. So if you have something that you want to get out there, I'll be more than happy to host a drawing maybe once a month or something, and have an instant savage of the week or something like that, where I hit you up on Instagram or you hit me up and we can do a Skype call and I'll put it up on my YouTube channel. But this is what the philosophy of the Savage Council is all about, is people that have done the work. Doors have been shut for them because people didn't want to work with them. So the bottom line is like, hey man, we're trying to bring people to you, that real people that are willing to give you real knowledge. Reach out to Ivan, maybe he could put some classes together. Maybe you could quit that day job of yours. Do you charge? Do you charge to take these classes?
The first class I took that I didn't charge. People left the tip, you know, and they were like, hey, I'll be happy to pay you, but I don't, you know, I didn't ask for money. Because again, you know, I was at one point in my life where I wanted to learn and nobody wanted to teach me. And it was hard, you know, a tough pill to swallow, that you would think that the people that you live around, that they're not willing to help you at all.
Yeah.
You know, they would much rather see you fail than to succeed. Just so you know, I'm not one that just gave up so quickly. You know?
Right.
I was like, all right, you put the fire
Stokes
right
the
under
fire.
my booty.
Yep.
I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna make a better effort, and I'm gonna learn it myself, and I'm gonna be better than you thought I would ever be.
Right. And you're going to take it a step forward and you're going to pay it forward.
Yep. And help others.
Yeah, which is, I love that. And if we could have more of that in the world, to where it's like, I mean, because there's a lot out there that's enough for everybody. This e-commerce, this social media, the different home-based businesses, or, you know, where you could get stuff done out-servicing and outsourcing and still get paid. Like, I mean, there's enough there for everybody to be successful.
Yeah, you know, the market is huge. I don't get why people are so angry towards one another, you know, and honestly, if you see me as a threat, that's one thing.
Okay.
But, you know, I still stay respectful and mindful of others. you know. And I know, like I said, I know a lot of good, you know, photographers in the Central Valley. I'm not competing with them. I'm not trying to take their business. I'm not trying to be better than them. I'm just trying to be better than myself. You know? So I set my own standards, and I'm going to go above and beyond them, and I'm going to be better than that. If you choose to sit back and do nothing, that's on you. But we want the market to kind of expand for everyone. You know, I have a full-time job. So I'm not here to try to take your money from you. If you want to buy my work, I'm happy to sell it to you. I sell any image. Except for pictures of my girlfriend. There is, you know, no, not gonna happen.
No price tag you can put on that.
That's priceless. That's mine.
Priceless, man.
But I sell any image, and I try to be reasonable. I try to make it to where, you know, people can afford these things, but at the same time, you know, I'm also putting a lot of money, time, and effort into this. So you want to see it come back, maybe over a long period of time. But, you know, my full-time job pays my bills. It pays everything else. I don't have to do this. I'm doing it because I want to. You know, and even the teaching, the classes and stuff. If you want to give me money, cool, I'll take it.
I'm gonna say no to that.
And I ain't gonna turn down the cash money. But if you can't afford it and you still want to go, show up. I'm gonna treat you the same. I'm not gonna treat you any different just because you have money. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be hungry. Again, I'm not here to steal people's money or take their money from them. If I can help you out and you can pay it forward, then cool. You know, teach somebody else. There's nothing wrong in that. And then I don't have any secrets to photography. It's all out there. You can find it online.
One thing that resonated with me, what you just said, and I'm gonna try to remember it, but what I got from it is like, you are a guy that wants to pay it forward. You went through the hardship, the struggle, the rejection from your own community. Now people are giving you a little bit more credit. And that's something that they can't take away from you, because you are living your best self. Like you said, I like how you said that you're not competing with anyone, you're competing with yourself. You're trying to be the best version of yourself. You know, you're trying to push your own self. And then the other thing I like, and what I'm getting from you, is whether you show up or not, I have a feeling Ivan Mendoza is going to be up there anyways.
I hope so.
And so you're just a guy like, hey, if you happen to be there and you have questions and I can help you, like, I'm gonna, because that's just how cool you are.
I try to be, you know, but
we need more of that.
The more the more we have out there doing the right thing, the better. You know what I mean? And you know, this world is so full of hate and tied up in politics and hate that you want to remove yourself from that, and that's what photography does for me.
And get back to the land, get back to nature, get back to the awe-inspiring creation of what is above and what is below. And just, we're here and we're traveling through here, but your pictures are going to last forever, man. Ivan, I appreciate it, my guy. This has been, man, I wish you guys could have caught the conversation. Like, we've been talking 2 or 3 hours before we even shot this. So, but like, to get it on video, to share it with you guys, hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you respond. He's going to link it on his channel so the photography community can come over here. Savage Council guys, I hope you have learned something. I hope that you just show the guy some love, some respect. Join his social media, look at some of this stuff. Hit him up for some prints. I know I seen some just today on his Facebook. I saw a panorama 360 of San Diego skyline at night. It was lit. It was lit. And you know me, like, I'm trying to improve productions here. Moving into 2019, I'm going to try to do some equipment upgrades. I'm going to try to make the videos better quality for you guys, while taking you guys on the journey of what I've learned, what I've discovered, and reaching out to other people so I don't have to do it all myself and feel like I have to do 50 hours of looking at YouTube a day to try to figure all this out. I'm going to try to bring in people to help me, and as they're helping me, we're catching it on video so you guys could be helped too, so you guys have the resources, the social media to these guys, because if they're cool enough to be here, they're definitely going to be cool enough to talk to you. Because I'm not bringing in anybody that, you know, is going to be like, you know, reject you for who you are or what you don't have or whatever. Hey, you guys know my philosophy is like, we're working with the resources resources that we have on hand trying to build something and trying to move it forward. Savage Council, the whole is greater than the one individual. So that's what we're trying to do. That's the philosophy in a nutshell. And I'm super stoked that Ivan was able to be here. Hopefully we could see more of him. We have some little projects planned. But yeah, you guys are just going to have to stay tuned for that. So is there any, you want to tell them again where your social media is?
My social media, you can find me on Facebook. You can follow my regular profile, Ivan Mendoza, and you see my picture. I'm actually, you know, one of the best selfies holding a camera.
Yeah.
With the duck lips. Or you can find me on Instagram at ivanstravels_ca_fs. Let's say a big thanks to Savage Council for hitting us up, you know, and you know, hopefully we can bring in some more people to interview too. I know a few of you guys. I'd like to get you guys in here and you know,
that's what's up. Thank you.
Let's
Appreciate
do some
that.
more stuff and have some fun, and hopefully we get them out on the set for some shoots and show you guys what it's all about. But you know, thanks for having me, man.
Hey, no problem, man. So you know where you can find me. I'll be right here. It's your boy Kenny Savage, and I hope you're living your life to the fullest, being savage and living savage. Peace.
Whoa, whoa.